Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to my presentation. I did an honors project for my Calculus 2 class, and it's more of a two-part speech, but we'll get to that later. So first, we're going to start with something called the tabular method. But a lot of you haven't experienced calculus yet, so it's might go a little over your heads, so don't fret about it, but enjoy it and listen. So we're going to start with what does it mean to integrate. Now you will see this a lot in Cal 2, a little bit in Cal 1. This is an integrand, and it is the opposite of taking the derivative of something to make it easier, I guess. There's too many ways to differentiate, there's too many ways to integrate, but you're just doing the reverse of integration. And we're going to be focusing on something that is done by parts, because that is where the tabular method is best fit. Integration by parts is a method of integration that is useful for things that look like they're multiplied together, that are algebraic and transcendental. In a way, it is something like the reverse of the product rule that you would learn in Calculus 1, and it is extremely useful. You learn this word light. It is a way of kind of showing what will be a certain value in there. Because when you're doing integration by parts, you need a u and you need a v. And this is so helpful because I'll tell you, when I was taking test 3, I looked at some of those problems and I was like, if I didn't know that, minus 20 points. On that test, I was really happy to say that I made 100 on because I had worked so hard on it. I mean so hard. I redid that practice test at least 2 times. But integration by parts can be a little irritating. I'm going to do an example in class for you guys. So you're going to have the integrand of x sine x. And you always put dx when you integrate, just for reference. If you don't, minus 10 points. So using Light, it stands for logarithmic, inverse trig function, algebraic, trig, and exponential. Now, here, you go in order. Whichever comes first is your u. So, no logarithmic, no inverse trig, but you have algebraic, so your u is going to equal x. And you're going to find the derivative of u. Now, again, many of you haven't had calculus, but the derivative of u, represented with du, equals 1. Now, you have a u, you have du, and now you need v. And dv. dv is just going to be whatever's left here. So it's going to be sine x dx, because you've already identified your u. And now v. v is going to be, you're going to integrate this. The integrand of sine x dx, and that is going to equal negative cosine x. Those are formulas you will learn in Cal 1 and Cal 2. There are a bunch of formulas, but the trig ones are easiest to remember. Now, you're going to use this formula, it's going to be uv minus the integrand of v du. So, here's what you're going to do. You have your u, you're going to go x times your v, which is going to be negative cosine x, and you're going to subtract this. So the integrand of v, negative cosine x, times your du, which is 1. Isn't that great? Isn't that nice how those things work out? So now you're going to multiply x cosine x. You can take out a negative here, which is really great. So it's just going to be plus the integrand of cosine x. Oh, I forgot my dx, minus 10 points. And it's going to simplify to negative x cosine x plus the antiderivative of cosine sine, so sine. And every time you are doing an indefinite integral, you always add a plus c. Always. It doesn't matter. If you take anything from this, if you ever take Cal 2, just remember your plus c. You'll at least get half credit somehow. So, this is okay. Like, once you learn, it's like, it's not bad. But this can take up a lot of time when you're taking a math test. At least for me, I always double check my work. I work as slow as I can to make sure I don't make an error. My most common errors, it's always like, oh, it's plus, not minus. That's why I got -1, or oh, I put cosine instead of sine. It's little things that can go wrong with your any kind of algebraic math. But the tabular method, this is so useful. Over the summer, my friend came to visit me, and she's a physics major, and she's all about calculus. She's like, I'm gonna teach you calculus when I see you, and I'm like, awesome. So she taught me about something called the tabular method. It is a much simpler version of integration by parts. However, there is a restriction. Your u has to be some kind of x to a power, because when you're deriving it, it has to go down to 0. That's when you're done doing it. This problem, I know there's an example right there, but I want to redo this problem with this, because I want to show you how much quicker it is. I did this on my test over all these integration things, and I remember Miss Miles commenting, going, I like this, and I'm like, yes. I wasn't sure if I could use it or not technically, because it's not necessarily by parts, but I'm like, I'm gonna do it anyway, because it's quick and time. So, you're going to make a little chart. You already have your u equals x, and you're gonna use your u, and you're gonna find the derivative of it. But, what you have left, sine x. What are you gonna do with that? You're gonna put it right here, and you're going to integrate it. When you're deriving something, the derivative of x is 1, and you're going to do it again, and it's 0. So, when you're going down this line, you're going to adjust the signs. It's going to be positive here, a negative here, and a positive. Now, take the derivative of sine x is negative cosine x. Take the integration of negative cosine x, and that will be sine x, I think. Oh, it does. I'm so sorry, I just have like a moment where you're doing math and it all goes away. Oh, I've been doing Cal 2 too long in the semester. Just kidding, it's sine x. In the end, listen, math is a process. When you're doing math, you can get it wrong as many times as you want. So long as you keep going and persisting, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you about my persistence in a class called Honors Geometry with Heather Jolly real soon. Lord. So, it's traumatizing days. So, you're just going to cross like this. This is so nice. Because I'm so bad at regular algebra after doing all this calculus for like a year. So this is simple. Look, you multiply them. See that? That's negative cosine x times x. And guess what? Negatives cancel out to a positive, so you got plus sine x plus c. Oh wait, that looks just like that. The tabular method at its finest. Thank you. I'll be here till Monday, and then I will never see you until January 15th. Okay. So, I really like math. That's why I'm doing this. But look at that. This is disgusting to look at. I know. I remember when I was in pre-cal, and I was doing things like simplifying expressions from calculus. I could throw up. Now, I know the images are a little distorted here because of the quality of my phone, but this was trig substitutions, partial fraction decomposition, and just a test question that was really nasty, but I was proud of because I got it right. How does this make anyone happy? Why do people choose a degree in this? What is the point of this? Well, in the past 2 years that I've been at Roane State, I have taken pre-calculus, calculus 1, and cal 2. I didn't have a lot of confidence at first when I first got here because I had had so much trouble in math before. In geometry, second semester freshman year, I was okay at algebra, and then I got there, and my first test, I had 100 on one side, other side was a 60. I cried a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big old baby with my grades. If it's not an A, I'm like, oh God. Imagine getting like an actual F. And this is my first year at high school. I'm like, it's going downhill already? And throughout geometry, it didn't get that much better a lot. I was just convinced that I was dumb. I can't do math. I'm okay because I'm an honor student, but I'm not better than all these other people here. I was so intimidated. This is how I felt every day walking into that classroom. Ask Michaela, she saw me. It was awful. It was my lowest grade. It was my lowest A. Yes, I know how that sounds. Oh, you mean A, stop whining. Listen, I almost made a B. I just had that bare minimum 93 with those 3 extra points. I cried of happiness, but there were so many tears. And even when I got to Algebra 2, I was still lacking that confidence because of the previous semester. I made an A in that, but what did that matter to me if I didn't feel like I deserved it? If I didn't feel like any of this was important to me? When I go to school, I want to feel like I'm doing this and I'm good at it. Even if I make mistakes, I still want to feel like I'm good at it somehow. This time last year, this is what I was doing. That's what a lot of you pre-cal guys are doing right now, law of cosines. This time last year, I was still scared out of my mind because guess what? I'm not even in high school now. I'm in college taking pre-calculus. And I know Miss Miles even could sense my worry every test, which that hasn't gone away, but this is what I was doing. And when I made my A pre-cal, a part of me was like, all right, I'm a little good at math. I'm all right. And then when I got to calculus, everything changed for me, I felt like. And I know it sounds a little nerdy, but calculus brought my spirits back up. That last spring semester was tough, but it was probably my best semester that I've had, minus this one. But when I kept doing well and realizing that my efforts were going to pay off, I realized I wasn't stupid, because just because someone makes A's on a test, they're honor students, college students, doesn't mean they think they're smart themselves. From the outside looking in, people could see my grades and be like, oh, you're doing fine. It's just a test, let it go. No, Mom, I'm not gonna let it go. It's my last test and I want to do fine. But this time last year, I was kind of struggling with this, but my confidence wasn't up yet. It was like an eternity ago. All right, we gotta stop filming and kick him out. A year later, it's exactly almost a year later, actually, from that test, this is what I can do. I have the capability. I can say with confidence that I can do all of these things that they did. Hyperbolic functions, they're kind of weird. Looks like the word cosh and cinch if you think about it. That's not really related, but I want to show you. See? Cosh. Cinch. I thought that was funny. It was the best part about hyperbolic functions. That's it. As you can see here, there's a lot of crossing out. It's basically like a trig verification, but hyperbolic trig. And right here was something recent. A lot of writing. That's one problem. That's one problem for reference in case you can't tell. You're trying to find out the convergence of something in the interval of it. I'm confident to say that I can do that. I can do that right here. The shell method. Remember the shell method, Michaela?
Nope.
I sure do.
I shut it out.
This was kind of awful at first, and then when I got the hang of it, I'm like, all right, I can see why this is fun. Just spoiler, it's not as cool as integrating functions, but you didn't hear it from me. I can do that. And trigonometric integrals, those were kind of annoying, but I got it. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. I struggled with all of this. This was hard. Calculus 2 is a hard class. A lot of people take this class over and over, or they drop it, or they fail it. And that sucks, because it's actually really fun when you get the hang of it. The thing about hard math is, it's so satisfying, first of all. You do a big paper long problem, and it's like, oh my God, it's right. The satisfaction of getting a problem right is so good, especially after you've been working on it for so long. It gets me up in the mornings, you know? If I didn't have Cal 2 this semester, I'd be sleeping probably past 10 for biology, but that's okay. It got me up every morning. So what have I learned in these past mathematical semesters that I've been here? These are math memes, by the way. Michaela, this one's for you. Math does definitely not get easier. I'm sorry if you haven't learned that by now. It gets harder. That's definitely for certain. But you are able to build on things a lot better than you used to. Just think about it. What did you guys do at the beginning of pre-cal? What did you guys do? Do you guys know? Are you burnt out and just doing your memory?
Something about it.
Miss Miles, what do you learn at the beginning of pre-cal?
Simplifying expressions from calculus.
And what do you learn at the beginning of calculus?
Limits.
Spoilers.
At the beginning. Dang, sorry. And at the beginning of Cal 2, you review a little bit, but you get right into it. You get right into all the integration that you just kind of breezed over in Cal 1. But think about it. You guys are learning how to simplify expressions, and a lot of you are going to end up learning how to do all that. Isn't that crazy? Like, if you were showed this on the first day of class, you would all like poop your pants and leave. That's just me. But you go from it's amazing the progress you can make in a year, and that's like the final thing, I guess, that I've really been proud of. Every time I make an A on a test, it's not even about the A, it's that my hard work is paying off, and I feel like that shows. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional about math. And it's okay to make bad grades. I've made some really dumb mistakes on things. This maybe might go over your head, but I remember on a calculus test, I was doing the chain rule. I can't wait for you guys to learn the chain rule. You basically have to keep taking the derivatives of things that are possibly inside parentheses or something. I didn't do that. I just took like the exponent out, and I was like, this is 4 times cosecant x to the 3rd or something. I'm like, oh, dang.
Rookie mistake.
You're telling me. And overall, calculus is so much fun, guys. I'm telling you. But maybe not you, Evan. You might not think it's fun. I can see it in your eyes.
You keep saying words, I don't know what any of them mean.
Neither do I. No, I'm kidding. I know a little bit about them. But math is great. It has taught me how to get confidence in myself. It has allowed me to get up in the morning and I guess be a morning person depending on how hard the math is, because sometimes during Cal 2 I want to go in the bathroom and cry just a little bit, but I don't. I stay in class, I pay attention, and I persevere. And now that it's over, I'm not taking Cal 3 in the spring, because no, and I'm tired of math. I love it, but if I see one more integration sign after today, what did you just say?
Big fan.
I've already told someone to get him out of here. What's he saying? Gosh. These are just men. Sorry, this is so funny to me. Oh, only calculus fans will understand. But I hope all of you in here, not just people in pre-cal, I'm not saying that if you're in college algebra, go take calculus right now. That's not what I'm saying. Give math a chance, though. If you work really hard, it will show off. And I get it. Some people don't want to dedicate that much time to it. But for me, it's made me a happier person overall. Yeah, I get stressed. But I've never been so confident in my math abilities. Like, math used to be my lowest grade, and now I think it's going to be one of my highest grades. And I'm still the same person. I still am growing at the same level. I'm still not the smartest person in the world, but I don't need to be. I don't need to be like Albert Einstein to be happy and good at calculus or any kind of math. It comes from here. It comes from having some confidence, and once you gain that confidence, oh, it feels so good. Getting a test back, oh my God. Like, it's better than getting paid like $20 sometimes. And finally, I believe you with my favorite Bible quote that Evan gave me the idea to do. Cheryl 11:20. Blessed be to Deborah Miles for allowing me to become mathematically literate for the first time in my life.